Let's go! The NFL season is here. It starts tonight. And this is the NFL prediction bonanza. Everyone can tell you who they picked after the fact, but we're going to tell you which teams are going to make the playoffs, which teams are not going to make the playoffs, and we're going to put our names where our money is made right here. Accountability. I like that. I'm joined by the great Dan Orlovsky. I am joined by the amazing Field Yates, and I'm joined by my former colleague, my guy. Here we go. This, what do they call it? Like a little blankie? This is it. Jason McCourty.
He's your tight end?
He is my guy.
Jason Witten?
Let's go.
Oh, I like that.
Here's what we're going to do.
Jason Witten.
We're going to make picks over the entire course of the next hour, and we're going to start with the AFC playoffs. How confident are you guys feeling with your predictions?
I feel good at the top, I'll tell you that much. I feel pretty good at the top. I think we're all going to see it pretty similarly, right?
Field Yates, not only are you going to tell us who's going to win the AFC, you're going to tell us your 7 playoff teams in the AFC. Get us started with your seedings, 1 to 7. Yep. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's rip it. 1, 2, 3. I don't think anybody's going to disagree. The 3 best teams in the AFC are the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. That's the order that I happen to have it in, and part of it is just playing out the schedule, right? The Bills play in the easiest division of those 3. I believe that the Chiefs play in the toughest division of those 3. The Chiefs also, of course, draw the Philadelphia Eagles in week 2. The Chiefs are remarkable. Their consistency should not be questioned. That being said, it feels like Buffalo's going to end up at the top for me. Number 4.
Real quick, was that because of the schedule?
Yeah, the Bills have they play in the easiest division out of those 3, in my opinion. Right. Number 4, the Houston Texans still feel like the cream of the crop in the AFC South. A young division a couple of years from now could look different, but for now, C.J. Stroud and Houston.
The perennial 4-seed Texans.
And
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday wild card, baby. We'll see it. Now things get fun, and there are a handful of teams that I think are right there in the mix for those final playoff spots. But I believe the Denver Broncos, a team on the rise. I don't see a major hole in this roster right now. Bo Nix primed for a big leap. Who needs defense when you got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and, of course, Jamar Chase? The Bengals. The 6th seed. Things are a little better now, a little more harmony now that both Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and I guess most importantly, Trey Hendrickson's deal has been done. And then finally, death, taxes, and Steelers.
Yes!
Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin finds a way. They always find a way at least 500, which is, I guess, possible but very unlikely with the 17-game format. The Steelers with Aaron Rodgers find a way to squeak into that back end of the playoff race. They get the number 7 seed. Not to burst the bubble of Steelers fans, they will probably get waxed by the Ravens in this scenario, but they'd still find a way into the dance.
That's a rinse and repeat from last year type of thing?
No, there's a couple teams that are.
The wild card round.
Yeah, the wild card round.
Oh, yes. I was going to say.
I am curious. A lot of people are off on the Steelers saying Rodgers is old, and there's some teams that did not make this list for you. Why did you put the Steelers in?
It's a championship defense. That's the caliber they have defensively. Now, we got to figure things out with Cam Hayward right now. You can't have your all-pro defensive tackle who has meant so much of this organization for over a decade now on the short list, if not the most respected player in the locker room, still dealing with the contract situation, 72 or so hours away from kickoff, but it's a championship caliber defense, and on offense, they just need to be good enough, right? My questions for the Steelers do not come, I believe, from September to December. It's January. It's when they're playing the teams that can hang 30 on you every single Sunday.
I think another thing, too, if you're not a Steelers fan, do you remember that this team added both Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah.
Like 2 guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame and both still playing at a high level. To your point, I think I've kind of been swung to thinking, probably a playoff football team, 10 wins.
On the list at the very least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real quickly, who was the one team that you left off that you were going back and forth on?
The Chargers. The Chargers are the one team. To me, it's the offensive line question marks that we have going into the season for a team that has an identity. They want to run the football, but can they pass protect at a high enough level with no Rashawn Slater?
Let's keep it hot right now because you came out of the gates
ready to roll.
Ready to go. Jason McCourty, give us your 7 playoff teams.
Here we go. Field, I like what you talked about at the very top when you talked about the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens. In what order you have those in, that's the big part. I'm starting with the Buffalo Bills at number 1. And yes, Dan, it has to do with that schedule. That's why they get that first overall seed in the AFC. Number 2, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. So much talk around their division, what everybody else has done. Chiefs are healthy. Pacheco's going to be there. A new left tackle in Simmons. Number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I love their roster, what they've done on the defensive side of the ball and the guys they have. Number 4, and my very favorite AFC South, where I'll be making a ton of trips to this season, I have the Houston Texans. Yes, their defense propels them to win that division once again. All right, Field, I agree with you. On the next pick, I'm going with the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Sean Payton and Bo Nix and what he's going to be in his second year. Number 6, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. We're just revising.
We're 6 for 6, basically. Let's go.
For the viewers at home, we did not show these to each other, so this is real.
At all. I'm going with the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow, there's no way with that talent, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, that they're going to miss the playoffs.
Before you reveal number 7.
Yes.
Dolphins haven't been mentioned yet.
Yeah.
The Jets haven't been mentioned yet. The Chargers weren't put in the playoffs. The Raiders. Is there some sleeper team you're going to put at 7?
You got to be a sleeper team. You can't just run it back. I went back and forth on this one. At number 7, I'm going with the New England.
Okay.
I'm saying Mike Vrabel's able to turn these things around. Don't look at me like that, Dan, though. The biggest thing for the Patriots, they don't have the depth, but they're able to stay healthy. I think they can make some noise. Phil started this thing off. Phil, why did you have Buffalo number 1?
Softest schedule.
Softest schedule.
Yeah.
In that division, I think New England, they have a chance to sneak into the playoffs.
How many teams you played for in your career?
4.
Name them.
Tennessee for 8 years, that was home.
Yeah.
New England, I did the most winning in, but that was only a few years. And then a beautiful, beautiful year in Cleveland where we didn't win a game. And then I finished
I remember this play.
Miami,
I remember. So this play and those memories and emotions had nothing to do with this pick.
That play was like a decade ago now. I did spend the preseason calling the New England Patriots there. I was at joint practice against the Commanders. I was in meetings with those guys. I mean, that rubs off on you a little bit. I drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid.
You were there for the preseason games. You were there for those practices. And you didn't come away saying, just not this year. You think playoffs.
I think they have a chance to sneak in.
Yeah. All right, I've got a couple different ones here. So my 1 through 4 is not going to be all that different outside of 1, Buffalo, schedule, roster, when you're actually going to win it. I'm going to go 2, Baltimore Ravens. I think it's the best roster in the AFC, and at some point, one of those 2 teams, 1, 2, got to win it. Number 3, I'm going with the Denver Broncos.
Whoa!
I'm on the Broncos train.
This. You know why I like this? Because everyone's saying they could win, they might win it.
Yeah.
You are going with
I'm on the Broncos train. I'm along with Field. I do not believe that this football team as a whole. I think it's the best combination of offensive and defensive lines in the conference, in the conversation with Baltimore, just because of the way they can dominate that. They got a Super Bowl winning. I'll say the best combination-wise. Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. So that's why, and I really believe Bo Nix has a big leap.
Dan,
Premier players got to be a big deal.
Thank you for putting your name on there, because I see a lot all summer. It's been,
and that's not shots at the Chiefs. That's not shots at the Chiefs. I got a ridiculous amount of respect for the Chiefs. And then number 4, I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I think it's the fastest defense in football. All right, let's go to the wild card 5. Chiefs, I still believe that they are one of the very best teams in football. I want to see how the offense looks. Number 6, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Let's go.
I still believe the identity of the team remains, and I know Slater's a loss. I do. But Herbert, I expect to take a big leap. Trey Harris, their draft pick outside of Ladd McConkey, or in accordance with Ladd McConkey, gives them another viable option on the outside. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nice pick, Dan.
I'm going to go back to the defense. I was shocked when I just reread the defense. I'm like, my goodness, they're loaded on all 3 layers. And I think Rodgers is better than people's public perception. Everyone thinks Aaron Rodgers stinks. He doesn't. And so I think that's kind of my grouping of 7.
Let me just go back to this Broncos winning the AFC West, because you also have the Chargers and the Chiefs, meaning it's going to be a loaded division.
Yeah.
This would take them to beat the Chiefs head-to-head, something that they came close to last year, the blocked field goal, then the Week 18 game I don't even consider. Do you think Denver takes on Kansas City and beats them in those games?
Yeah, I do. I think at least one of them. I don't know if it's going to be both of them, but I do believe it's at least one of them. The Broncos have always played Patrick tough. Now, Patrick's absolutely made plays against them, but I just continue to believe the more, we go over schematics in football and what quarterback. These lines of scrimmage are just so real. And I think that their defense is built to play coverage. They just paid Nick Benito today. And so the lines of scrimmage are great. I think schematically they match up well. I think they could run the football. I just really believe that there's not a flaw in this football team. And I'm a believer in Bo Nix more than maybe, again, a lot of other people.
Sure.
My question to you guys on the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have DK Metcalf on one side. The other side, who's the receiver? Who's the guy that steps up for you guys? Rodgers can't just do it only throwing it to DK Metcalf. So who's that guy? I know they have John Smith as well.
Calvin Austin.
Calvin Austin the third.
Roman Wilson maybe.
Honestly, it may not be anybody, truthfully. Like, the identity might just be we win games. We win games 24.
The way they've done it in the past.
What they've did
last year.
And that's part of it is, God bless you, you keep winning, and part of it's like, that's why we are
That's
in
your
that.
DNA.
You're hanging in this purgatory.
I know you guys already did all your fantasy drafts at home, and Field, you are the fantasy guy, not me. I will say this, they're very high on Calvin Austin. They like Calvin
Okay, a
Austin
little
as
late round flyer.
Late round flyer. There's your fantasy draft tip as your fantasy drafts are long done. Let's get into my AFC picks here. I, too, have the Bills.
Unanimous
as
Bills
the
at number one. Let's go.
Seed. The playoffs will go through
They won't be
Western
one
New York
now.
this year. And I have the Kansas City Chiefs as the 2 seed. Number 3 seed, I also have the Baltimore Ravens winning the AFC North. And as a 4 seed, I have the Houston Texans winning the AFC South. It seems kind of chalk with those 4 based on how we did it, guys.
Yeah.
Number 5, I'm a believer as well. The Orange Crush Broncos defense is back. Denver as our 5 seed. Number 6, just the opposite of an Orange Crush defense. A team that might have to put up 40 points every single week. I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals as my 6th seed. And as my 7th seed.
There it goes.
What do you got? What do you got?
It's a team that
you're
no
gonna throw
one else in America is picking.
Nobody?
The vibes are bad. Tyreek stinks.
Miami.
Waddle stinks. Tua stinks.
The
Mike
vibes
McDaniel's
are
going to be
bad.
on our network by October as an analyst. No. The Miami Dolphins are my 7th seed.
Wow.
I'm going
You
with the
take 'em in.
high-flying Miami Dolphins as my 7th
Why?
seed.
Why?
Why? Because they had 100% participation in their offseason participation this year at practice. They bring back Waddle and Tyreek, both being healthy.
Yeah.
And the nobody believes in us card has never been longer for a team than the Miami Dolphins, who, by the way, went 6-2 to finish the season last year and still have Tua Tagovailoa. Remember him? A pretty good quarterback.
You went with the participation grade to start.
I went with it to start it. They all were there.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I like? It's all right. I will buy a little bit of it. I
Yes.
do have to note that it was almost going to be Ryan Clark in that chair because the Dolphins almost signed Jason McCourty this week to play corner for them. That's how thin they are. I mean,
They are
I'm not sure who they
corner and
have.
offensive line. I understand that. That said, as someone who did play defensive back and was a fan of Javon Holland, who's no longer there, and was a fan of
That's your
Jalen
guy
Ramsey,
right
who's
there.
no longer there, is defensive back, if you're young, such a spot where you can't play up and be able to perform? Or do you need to have the Darius Slays and the Jalen Ramseys to compete in the league?
What helps them is you have a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick. So they're young at that cornerback spot. You have a veteran behind you to kind of be the quarterback of the defense and settle everything down. I will say with the Miami Dolphins, 6 of their first 8 games are teams that all had losing records last year. So when you talk about a team that's gone through a little bit of an identity crisis this offseason, it gives them an opportunity to start hot and feel good about themselves moving forward.
Well, Kenneth Grant, their first-round pick, Seiler, those guys up front are going to help those young corners or unproven
They
corners.
get back Chubb, they get back Phillips, and I love Chop Robinson.
Yeah.
I like this
But,
team.
when do
They'll be
those
top 10
guys
defense.
come back? You know, and I agree. I actually thought under Anthony Weaver, their defensive coordinator, that group started to play better as the
definitely
season
did.
went on, and it got more complicated to play against them. How healthy do those guys get, and when do they actually get healthy?
All right, so here's a recap of our AFC predictions. Everybody on the panel has the Bills as the #1 seed, which would scare the heck out of me if I'm a Bills fan.
Not gonna happen
But they
now.
also have Baltimore and Houston and Kansas City and Denver in the playoffs. Dan actually has the Broncos winning the West, which would be their first division title since 2015 when Peyton Manning led them to a Super Bowl that year.